Southern Woods and Waters TV. That's where you want to be. Foggy mornings in the field, come the creek with the rod and reel, doing what we love in Tennessee. Patriot Demolition presents Southern Woods and Waters with Hugh McNaughton and Brandon Dowdy. Also being brought to you by Sniper Hunting Products, Deer 30 Minerals, Candy Fork Outdoors, Weststone Cry-Like Realtors, TWRA, Capital Sportsman, Nashville Marine, Davidson Farmers Co-op, Courtney's Restaurant and Catering, Mowing and More, CVA, Wilson Bacon Trust, Flowers Processing and Garden Center, X Outdoor Products, and Hunter Up.
Welcome everyone to this Thursday night's edition. I'm Hugh McNaughton.
And I'm Brandon Dowdy.
We are
Southern Woods and Waters.
Yes, we are. And boy, we're excited about this show.
We are. There's a lot of people.
We finally got the man.
A lot of people are excited about this show. We've had calls, we've had messages, we've had, people wanting to know what's going on, what we're going to talk about, and so it's a lot of people excited about it.
And I'm going to tell you something. If you don't know anything about this subject right here, you've had your head in the ground or sand or whatever.
Yeah.
And you just haven't been listening.
Yeah.
Because everybody that has ever reeled a reel or pitched a lure or whatever is talking about this subject right here, and that is the Asian carp. And tonight, let's broaden out and introduce our guest to you tonight. We have with us the one, the only, Mr. Frank Fiss. Frank is the Chief Director of the Fisheries and for the whole state.
Yes.
And Frank, you took Bobby Wilson's all place.
I did.
We finally got Bobby up a little bit where he can't bother anybody.
Well, he still bothers me.
He still bothers you.
But no, he's a good one. I'm glad we didn't lose him altogether. But yeah, I've been at it a couple years now,
yes,
and boy, most of the work I've been doing has been on Asian carp.
I'm gonna tell you something. He put you in a spot, and you hit the road running, didn't you?
Yeah. We had a lot of opportunities open up at about that time too that really helped. But yeah, it's in full swing right now.
We're gonna do a little test, okay? A little bit later, we're gonna test you. Right there, and you just got to be honest with yourself. I mean, we can't grade you or anything, but you got to be honest with yourself. So we're going to give you that test here in a little bit. But first off, let me say this. I told you about it. Bill Dance did a show just this last weekend, and Bill Dance did one on the Mississippi, and he actually went with two other guys, and they went catfishing on the Mississippi down close to Memphis. And they used the Asian carp as bait. Now, if you got to watch that show, they caught a lot of 20s in the 20-pound class. They caught 149 nicely. Okay, so that was just this last Saturday when his show aired. So, if like I said, if you haven't heard about the Asian carp, you've had your head in the sand or something, because it's everywhere. But there is so much going on about it right now, Frank. I mean, just tell us. You know that there's a problem.
Well, we all know there's a problem. These fish came from China, from Asia, and they were brought in for aquaculture purposes in the 70s in Arkansas. They were in the flooding we had in the 1990s. These fish got out in the Mississippi River in great enough numbers to really get a population going. Of course, those fish are doing really well in the Mississippi River. They've worked their way up the Ohio River, and now they're in the last 10, almost 15 years now, they've been coming into the Tennessee and Cumberland rivers. So we knew they were out there in the Mississippi in the late 90s, and by around 2011, after the big flood we had here, it was really apparent that we had great numbers of carp. Now, we had them before that, but that was when we really saw a bunch of fish where we knew we had a problem that we were going to have to do even more about. And there's been a lot of work going on carp from our agency since 2005-07, and some national strategic planning to deal with carp, because this is a national problem that we're just on the leading edge of this issue. the fish are making their way up the Tennessee Cumberland, but they're working their way up the Arkansas's Red River. They're going up the upper Mississippi River. A lot of people hear about carp on, how are they in or are they out of the Great Lakes? That seems to be what the national attention is. And we don't want them in the Great Lakes, but we need a little attention in the Tennessee Cumberland River, because we're trying to compete for federal dollars. That's what a lot of the work that I do is in the office, and travel to different meetings to get money to bring to Tennessee to work on carp. And a couple of things that we're doing that are designed to slow the spread of carp and reduce their numbers. We have invited the Fish and Wildlife Service with the state of Kentucky to come to the Cumberland system and Tennessee system and install an acoustic barrier. These fish are sensitive to sound, as you know, because they jump.
That's right, they jump.
We're going to take advantage of that sensitivity, and put sound barriers in front of Barkley Dam this September. And they're going to evaluate that over the winter. If that works, we got fish that are radio tagged, or actually sonically, or sound tagged. There are 200 of them between the 3 states that are working together on this on the Tennessee River, tracking their movements to know if they're using the locks, when they're using the locks. I mean, we know they're using the locks, obviously,
right.
But when and how they're using them can help us control them better.
Control them.
So we don't want them to get clear up the Tennessee River and back over into East Tennessee. We don't want them in Guntersville. We don't want them in any of or Alabama's lakes. And unfortunately, the silver carp have made their way. We've had a few reports in the Decatur, Alabama area, and that's in the Pickwick with Wilson and Wheeler.
That's Tennessee River.
So they're making their way, and if we can get a barrier in place within a year or 2 or 3, we might have a shot at keeping them from getting to the upper lakes. But we're talking millions of dollars. The fisheries division budget is $10 million for the whole state, operating 10 hatcheries and all the things that we do. We would need about that to share among the Kentucky, Alabama, Mississippi, to do the work we need to do in the Tennessee River to keep these fish in check. We also would like to keep barriers at the Tennessee Cumberland, the Barkley, Kentucky dams. So that's one strategy, and another thing is to control their numbers with commercial fishing, and that's been moving along.
We want to talk to you in depth about that. They came from China. How is China dealing with? They evidently have the same problem we are right now.
Well, they're native fish there, so they fit into their ecosystem in a way that was normal. I mean, it'd be like us worrying about gizzard shad or something that we were supposed, something that's been here forever, and it's in the right ecosystem. It's when you get species that come into a new area that can capitalize on some feature of the ecosystem that they didn't evolve in, or they can't. They can really take off, and it's not every non-native fish that becomes invasive, but this one clearly is, because it gets so abundant and has the potential to strip all the productivity out of the lake. They're not eating fish straight up. They're eating the food that the whole system works off, the bottom of the food
from the ground up.
That's right.
So they're eating the things that your larval bass and crappie need to eat after they lose their yolk sacs, so to speak.
All right, well, we got to go through our our wild game forecast.
Maybe we'll get a weather forecast later. You never know.
It's rainy out there.
This weekly wild game forecast is being sponsored by our friends over at Wilson Bank and Trust. I want to thank those guys for everything they do. Go and join them on Facebook as well. They've got different events and things that they do in the community just about every weekend. So go give them a follow and thank them for everything they do for us.
What have you been seeing?
Well, I tell you one thing we saw on the way here tonight. We just about run over 2 bucks on I-40 that were
I was going to say that,
trying to get across the road there, and they were in velvet antlers, obviously coming right along. So they were. Hopefully they're still on the side of I-40 and didn't try to go out there across that road, but they're coming along.
Can I also say they look healthy?
They do. They look good.
All of them do.
Been a lot of ticks this year. Had a lot of people talking about the midges and
I've heard
ticks
a lot
being
about ear mites.
but other than that, I mean, yeah, all the farms that we've gotten pictures off of and things, the deer look very healthy. Antler growth's coming right along, doing great. So
we haven't had
everything's
the
kind of par for the course,
or the buck moon yet. That'll come in July. That's when you really see those antler growth.
You really know what's going on by then. You get you a target picked out then.
That's right. That's right. Fishing, though, it's still hot. It's still hot. It has been 100% humidity yesterday.
It's hot.
So it's hot, but you know what? That's what we're on the water for.
It is. Get up. We went Cordell Hall last week. Went up to Wildwood again and had a great time. And it was the same way. 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning, man. It was by then it was burning up.
Come off.
But we got out there at daylight. It was great.
That's right.
Got out and fished and really enjoyed it. So.
You can catch us anytime.
Yeah.
On Facebook.
Catch us anytime on Facebook. Come over and follow us there. Keep up with what's going on. I actually just today or yesterday, I'm sorry, we posted this last where Frank did the Asian carp study and some things that he had. So we try to keep you guys up to date with everything that we can on our Facebook page. So we want to let you follow us along there. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back here in just a minute with some more on the Asian carp with Southern Woods and Waters.